If you're the kind of person who wants to make sure the big-ticket gear you're about to drop cash on actually fits your workshop or home garage setup, you know the feeling of staring at a product page and wondering whether you're buying a dream or a disappointment. I've been in that spot more times than I can count, especially when it comes to air compressors, those silent workhorse machines that can make or break a project. The Ingersoll Rand IRT45465770 is one of those 120-gallon, 10-horsepower units you'll see popping up when you need a lot of airflow but you don't want to spend a fortune on a brand new industrial model. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why this particular size matters. A 120-gallon tank gives you enough storage to run a few tools in a row without the compressor cycling on and off every few seconds. That's a real comfort when you're painting a whole room, inflating a fleet of tires, or running a pneumatic nail gun for a deck build. The 10 HP motor, paired with a 230-volt three-phase supply, means you'll get a decent amount of CFM, cubic feet per minute, for the price enough to keep most medium-sized jobs moving. But with all those numbers flashing on the spec sheet, the question really boils down to three things: how the unit behaves in a real workshop, who will actually get value from it, and where the hidden trade-offs hide. I spent a couple of evenings in a friend's garage that's set up like a small commercial shop. The space is a concrete slab with a three-phase line already in place, and the floor is level but not exactly pristine. There are a few oil stains and a couple of concrete cracks. We hooked up the Ingersoll Rand compressor, ran the included hose and regulator, and put it through its paces. The first thing I noticed was the secure connections. The unit comes with heavy-duty couplers that lock firmly onto the tank and the hose, which is a subtle but crucial point. In the past, I've seen cheaper compressors leak air right at the connection points, causing pressure loss and a lot of wasted time tightening clamps. With this model, the pressure held steady at the set point within a few seconds of turning the motor on. That kind of reliability is a real time saver when you're trying to keep a paint job going or need consistent air for a spray booth. A practical strength that doesn't get talked about enough is the built-in climate control. The compressor includes a small, internal thermostat that kicks in when the tank temperature climbs above a certain threshold. In a garage that can get to 90 degrees in the summer, that thermostat prevents the motor from overheating, which in turn extends the life of the unit. I ran the compressor for about an hour straight while the ambient temperature was in the high 80s, and the motor never sounded strained. It stayed whisper quiet for a 10 HP machine, quiet enough that you could actually carry on a conversation without shouting over it. That's a practical win for anyone who works in a shared space or simply hates the constant hum of a big motor. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: the price. This isn't a budget-friendly unit, you're looking at a mid-range investment. The value, however, comes from the fact that it's manufactured in the United States, which often translates to tighter quality control and easier access to replacement parts. For a contractor or a serious DIYer who expects to keep the unit for years, the Made in USA badge can be worth that extra few $100s. That said, if you're only ever going to use the compressor for a one-off project or you have a limited budget, you might want to reconsider. There are lower-priced alternatives that will do the job for occasional use, but they tend to have flimsy connections and fewer safety features. Who should buy this? Think of anyone who runs a small business out of a garage, a hobbyist who regularly works with pneumatic tools, or a homeowner with a sizable renovation coming up. The 120-gallon tank is more than enough to keep a paint sprayer, a nail gun, and a jackhammer fed simultaneously without dropping pressure. If you have a three-phase power source already installed, you'll also avoid the hassle and extra cost of wiring a single-phase conversion. On the flip side, if you're a casual user who only inflates tires once a month or you don't have three-phase power, this unit is overkill. The extra tank size and motor power will sit idle most of the time, and you'll be paying for capability you don't need. A practical weakness I observed is the size and mobility. The unit weighs close to 1,200 pounds, and while it sits on wheels, moving it around a cramped workshop can be a challenge. If you need to shift the compressor from one side of the shop to the other frequently, you'll need a helper or a sturdy cart. That's not a deal breaker for a fixed installation, but it's something to